Does calorie counting cause eating disorders? That is the question that I will be answering in today's video with my honest opiniones. This question means a lot to me as someone who has struggled with both calorie counting and multiple forms of disordered eating. So I think that I have enough personal experience to answer this question, being that I've been on both sides of this question. I've been on both the yes side and the no side. And as a personal trainer and online coach, and I've been doing this for over 4 years, I've been doing fitness and caring about my health for over 10. I feel like I have also enough insight into what the research is saying, what the science-based thinkers in the field are saying, to give an unbiased answer. Funny thing is that for a long time, I used to think 100% yes. Calorie counting is in fact harmful for everyone. It can cause disordered relationships to food. There's no need to be so obsessive and think about food in that way. It's harmful. Food should be this intuitive thing that we feel, and in real life, nobody actually needs to be crunching the numbers like that. Like, who has time for that? That's just obsessive and that's weird. And the reason I believe that is because I struggled with a disordered relationship to food, to exercise, and to my body for over 7 years. And so when I was in the thick of my healing, I took it upon myself to follow a lot of social media accounts who identified as body positivity accounts, body neutrality accounts, intuitive eating accounts. And these accounts were so helpful to me. They taught me how to enjoy food again. They taught me how to detach my self-worth from my physical appearance. They taught me how to celebrate my body and be proud of my body in all stages. I don't know, they taught me to love myself, and they taught me how to create a healthier relationship to food, to exercise, and to my body. And a lot of these accounts, that's what they were preaching. They were preaching about the dangers of calorie counting and the dangers of intentional fat loss. And it resonated with me. I was like, yes, 100%. That was true for me. Therefore, it must be true for everybody. And when I would try to count calories, when I had this disordered relationship to food in my body, it was exhausting for me. It genuinely was debilitating for me. I remember it would take up 99% of my mental capacity. It made me a shell of a human being to engage in these self-monitoring behaviors. It was just really inappropriate for me. And so because it was inappropriate for me, and because I was, this was the information and the content that I was consuming, I was like, it must be inappropriate for everyone. Nowadays, I do not think this is the case. No, I do not believe that calorie counting causes eating disorders. However, it can be something that aids someone further into their eating disorder, okay? It can trigger someone who already has underlying obsessive and compulsive tendencies, okay? But after healing my relationship to food, to exercise, and healing that part of me that craved to control something as a way to cope with emotional things that I didn't know how to deal with, once I healed that part of me that hinged so much of my self-worth onto my physical appearance and onto being skinny, my problems with food and exercise and self-monitoring went away. Nowadays, I've reintroduced calorie counting into my life, but only after I've done that healing. And now calorie counting has actually become a very positive addition to my daily routine. I enjoy it. It actually helps me feel confident and relaxed in my food choices, in my food decisions. And it's allowed me to achieve a physical goal a body goal, strength goals that I never thought that I would be able to achieve, okay? Calorie counting has helped me both gain 10 pounds and lose 12 pounds because once, right, I detached calorie counting from this desire to be skinny against all odds, like no matter what it costs, and I started viewing calorie counting as a tool to get closer to my strength and fitness goals, right? I was able to start using calorie counting not only to engage in a fat loss phase, but to engage in a bulking phase. And now I'm using calorie counting to engage in a reverse dieting phase. So yes, I don't just use calorie counting to be the smallest version of myself. I use calorie counting to be the best version of myself now. So that's what I think. I really did used to think that calorie counting was harmful, very harmful. And now I feel like with time and experience, I have a much more nuanced view of what calorie counting is and the purpose that it can serve in people's lives. But it doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter about my personal anecdotes. What does the research say? Full transparency, I haven't viewed or read these research papers myself, but there are several people on the internet that I trust their opinions and I trust their takes on the research, and I kind of use them as my guides for what the research is currently saying without having to read it myself. And people like Sohee Lee Fit, Lane Norton, people like Dr. Mike Isertel, people like Brad Schoenfeld and Eric Helms and Omar Esoff, Jeff Nippard. These are people that I follow that are current with the science. And what we've seen is that there have been some studies that have shown that self-monitoring behaviors, it doesn't just have to be calorie counting, but it can be things like weighing yourself. It can be things like, monitoring your food consumption without necessarily having to weigh everything on a scale. These behaviors have shown to help with fat loss. On the other side of that coin, there have been research that suggests that there is indeed an association with calorie counting and disordered eating. However, correlation does not equal causation. Just because two things are happening parallel to each other doesn't mean that one is causing the other. Ultimately, what I believe is that any tool can be abused. We can develop addictive, obsessive, compulsive associations with literally anything, including weigh yourself on the scale, including obsessively checking your bank account, or you know what I mean, or like obsessively tracking your spending, or obsessive couponing. Like anything can be taken to an extreme, and I don't think it's fair to blame a tool that when utilized in the hands of someone whom the tool is appropriate for can have positive outcomes. Like I've been on both sides, okay? I've been in a position where calorie counting further triggered my already obsessive compulsive tendencies that I didn't yet know how to deal with. And now I'm on the other side of it where I've healed that part of myself and now I can engage in calorie counting in a positive, responsible, effective way, not in a harmful, debilitating way. I've had plenty of clients who have opted out of calorie counting because they've been very clear with me, Marina, I'm not in this. I don't want to shrink myself anymore. I've been there, done that. My goal here with you is to get strong, is to focus on taking care of myself, is to focus on showing up for myself and putting myself first. And I've also had plenty of clients who have chosen to opt into calorie counting, and it has allowed them to get super strong, and it has allowed them to get super lean and look super awesome and badass and achieve those types of goals. I've also had clients who have initially opted not to calorie count and then have opted in, and that has been great for them. I have had clients who have initially started by opting into calorie counting and then eventually they opt out. You know what I mean? Like, it's a journey, folks. It's just a matter of being honest with yourself and knowing when something is appropriate for you and when something isn't. In conclusion, please calorie count at your own discretion. Be honest with yourself, because the only person you are going to be hurting by lying to yourself is you. The only person's results that you're going to be hurting by lying to yourself is you, right? Because if you are calorie counting as a way to chronically restrict yourself, your body will catch up to you. You can subject yourself to poor digestion, poor energy, depression, anxiety, low mood, low sex drive, fucking amenorrhea, you could lose your period. All negative side effects of using calorie counting in an irresponsible way. But if you are at a place where calorie counting makes sense for you, I highly recommend it. Here's the thing. Most of us will not be calorie counting forever. In fact, I don't calorie count forever. I typically only calorie count when I have specific physique goals, honestly. Specifically for me, physique goals. But I know that a lot of athletes, strength athletes, calorie count too because it makes sense for their goals. But the rest of us, most of my clients will like do a little bit of calorie counting and then chill for a while. But if you've never calorie counted before and you're someone who is really trying to improve your relationship to food and you're trying to like understand how to eat healthier and you're trying to get an understanding of what fat loss could look like for you, bro, if you just calorie count for 2 to 4 weeks, it is going to blow your mind how little you actually understood what was in your food. If you just calorie count for like 2 to 4 weeks, you're going to have such a better understanding of what's in your food. And it's going to give you so much peace when you go out to eat because you will make more goal-aligned food decisions because you know what is appropriate. Like, you're not sitting in this anxiety and fear about like, oh, fuck, that's the chicken nugget that's going to put me over the edge with my calories. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's the bite of cheesecake that's going to put me over the edge. You're not worried about it because you know you're measuring, you're tracking. You know what I mean? Same with money. I'm my most anxious with my money when I am not budgeting or measuring or tracking where my money is going. When I am more aware of what I'm doing with my money, I tend to feel less anxiety and I tend to have better outcomes and I tend to get to my goals in a more timely manner. But in order to do this, I had to learn how to detach my self-worth from the goals. Because when you're able to approach your goals from a non-judgmental place, it's just plugging and chugging. You don't beat yourself up when you skip a meal. You don't beat yourself up when you're 5 grams off of your protein goal. You don't beat yourself up when you're $5 over your budget, right? We understand that these numbers are just gentle suggestions that help us ballpark our goals, right? So it's not about sticking to these numbers perfectly. It's just about using these numbers as guides, as targets, so that we can shoot. And it's okay if we miss sometimes. That's just how it goes. It's just a part of being human. Let's talk about some signs that you are not ready to calorie count. You'll know that you're not ready to calorie count if you're somebody who tends to have all or nothing thinking or black or white thinking. So you feel like either I have 0 cookies or 20 cookies. You know what I mean? Or, fuck, I messed up once. Now I have to eat perfectly clean, no sugar all next week. Like this type of restrictive mindset can create a very negative, anxious, stressful environment around calorie counting. Another sign that you're not ready to calorie count is you are someone who is afraid of the scale. That number that you see on the scale can dictate the entire trajectory of your entire day. If you're 1 pound lower, you're going to have the best day ever. If you're 1 pound higher, bro, you are fucking in shambles. You have the worst day ever. I remember feeling this way. This is not normal, especially because our weight will fluctuate every single day. That's just the human body. Another sign, you feel guilt and shame when you eat bad food. If you think of food that you eat as good or bad, like, oh, cheesecake is bad, but salad is good, you most likely, again, have this black and white way of thinking, and that guilt and shame that you feel around food can be very negative, being that the way that we think about what we're eating can impact how our body digests it, dude. You body check often, so you're always checking your body in the mirror. You often say very negative and mean things about your body that you would never dare say to a friend or even to another person, right? Like we have this tendency, we say some fucked up shit to ourselves. I know that I used to do this. Sometimes I still do. I'm not even going to lie to you. That we would never dare say to someone else. And just think about how stressful and debilitating it can be to be bullied. It literally like ruins kids' lives. Like it ruins their grades. It causes them to change schools or not go to school at all. And you're bullying yourself in your head 24/7. Like that's a stressor on the body. So it wouldn't make sense to add another stressor like calorie counting that makes you feel even worse about yourself. On the other hand, signs that you're ready to count. You have a flexible approach to eating and exercising. You don't get so hard on yourself when you inevitably mess up here and again, right? That's normal. You allow yourself to eat some junk food without feeling guilt or shame about it. Because it's normal to treat ourselves and enjoy our time and feed our souls. You don't engage in compensatory behaviors, meaning that if you do have junk food, you don't go do a shit ton of cardio to make up for it, or you don't undereat the next day to make up for it. Those are symptoms of disordered eating. Weighing yourself doesn't really affect your mood. It's just a number. Nowadays, I'm at a point where I can weigh myself and I'm like, great, another data point. Awesome. If you eat something off plan, it doesn't dictate the trajectory of your day. You just get right back onto the plan. You just get right back on because you understand that a plan is just a suggestion that gets us moving in the right direction, but it is not like a strict regimen, you know? And your main fitness goal has nothing to do with how your body looks. Those are some signs that you most likely are doing and approaching fitness in a way that is fun and enjoyable and a positive addition to your life. And you might benefit from calorie counting to help you feel even more awesome. That's all I have to say about that. No, calorie counting will not give you an eating disorder. However, it can perpetuate obsessive compulsive tendencies that are already underneath, you know what I mean, that are already just below the surface. So please take care of yourselves, proceed with caution, have the self-awareness that you need to know when it's an appropriate versus inappropriate time to engage in such a behavior. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please send it to someone who you think might benefit from this information. Subscribe if you're into that, and don't forget to click the little notification bell so you never miss another video from me ever again. Okay, bye.